Funny thing happened to me on the way to the office this morning. I ended up in Nashville, Arkansas at J.R. Cook. What do you call your business? J.R. Cook Bladesmith?
Cook Knives.
Cook Knives. Cook Knives. So here we are.
Took a wrong turn.
Took a wrong turn. ABS Mastersmith, the legend, the man himself. Thank you for having me out today.
Glad to have you, Richard.
Now I understand you've got a couple guys in here.
We got a little apprentice program going on this week, and they bring me their problems they've had throughout the year, and we try to figure out how we can get around them. You know, what they might be doing wrong, or an easier way of doing it.
We're going to pal around for a while today. JR is going to kind of show me around the shop a little bit, give us a grand tour. So let's take a look around and take a look at the shop.
There's really no wrong way or no right way to make a knife. You'll take something you learned from me and something you learned from the guy down the street and put those together to make something that works for you to get the same end results. So in this little room here, I built this on just recently because of the class. I can close this off if someone's in here using a welding machine.
Oh yeah,
the light interference. So here, to cut whatever lengths of stuff you're cutting, a couple of little grinders for hand grinding billets, you know, in between, forging and welding them together. Pretty handy, you know, being able to close it off. So if there's more than one guy working, you know, he's not interfering with the other people working. Okay, so if you took this guard, this is your thickness, right? So if you came to the center so that you'd know the lengths are the same and cut you a groove in here, top and bottom, it looks pretty cool.
How do you find you're best able to help them in becoming better makers?
I watch what they're doing. Of course, you look at their final finish of their knife, and you can pretty much see by just a glance of what direction you need to look at first. You know, whether it might be in their forging side, you know, their forging skills are not where they should be. Most of the time it's in the grinding. The people struggle grinding.
Well, I sure did.
And there's a lot of things out there that you can get to help that. You know, different tooling. And a lot of it is process, because we as a knife maker, the first thing we want to grind is the blade.
Yeah.
Go up there and grind that blade. So then you're going to grind the ricasso, and then you're going to grind the tang, typically. Well, I reverse that. From watching the guys forge and the struggles they're having at the grinder, if you'll grind the tang first, all that material's out of the way, because the grinder is going to grind whatever you put up there to it.
Yeah.
And it's going to go to the least resistance. So you have a large, thick tang, and you trying to grind the ricasso and the tang together, you're apt to get out of parallel. Quit bending your thumb. I'm telling you.
Well, you know, you can't work around knives without getting cut just a few times, huh?
Little duct tape. Now we can put this up here and tape this. This is a good opportunity to go take a lunch break. So when I teach a class and have to forge a demo, show the guys how to forge a blade, how to grind a blade, how to do all the different aspects. The knives that I use on those demos, I take and I stamp field grade on them, and they're right off the grinder. I don't do any hand sanding or anything like that. So this is a knife I just finished in the last class to give the guys an example of how they're put together.
That's a nice buoy.
Thank you.
I love your guards.
Thank you.
Just love those guards. How long have you been doing your own engraving?
5, 6 years. Wanting to move into a different category. You can only achieve a certain level at your product, so this just advances it up from, you know, a field grade to something that's highly embellished, little gold inlay.
Yeah.
So you can get into a different market. I'll spend more time. It's just like this guard. Just to make the guard and then do the embellishment, you know, you're probably looking at 80 hours.
It's an investment after all. When you get to knives like this, you're investing into a fine piece of art. Very, very nice. They're all exceptional. I love that Hanna material right there.
That walrus is some really nice stuff.
It really is. How do you find working it? Does it sand pretty easily?
It sands real easy. You can actually carve it easy. You know,
Yeah.
I've done several pieces where I've carved it. So as you file around, you have to take more off of this one than you do
Correct.
here.
Yeah, use the file to,
Yeah.
to adjust it.
And you can take and get that a little wider if you want, and then heat this and bend it out if you want. It's just totally up to you. The difference between a custom-made knife and a manufactured knife, I won't mention any names like Benchmade or anything like that. They're making them by the thousands.
They are.
You know,
They are.
and they're not paying that much attention to any detail along the way.
Well, they have to keep pricing
They
down
have to
too,
keep pricing down.
which is going to limit the
They're
quality.
paying a lot of employees,
They are.
so they have a lot more higher overhead.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get as good of a product.
No. No. When you start paying a little more for a knife from a custom maker, it's a whole nother world.
Having a ranking is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make me a better maker than the next man? No. I don't know whether you have any kind of a ranking or if you're a knife maker or not, but if
I
you
don't.
were, you could probably be as good of a maker as I am.
In time.
Yeah, but well, if you pay attention,
Yep.
you know, research, test your knives yourself. Don't believe just what you've read. Read it, test it out, see is it true. We're in the grinding room,
Sure.
so I have a couple of grinders here,
Uh-huh.
a small drill press, little dust system. The dust systems, you know, they're difficult, especially with a class. I don't allow them to use them in the class because you don't want to mix sparks with fine wood dust.
You know, that's a
Doesn't go
big
well.
problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I basically have that for me when I'm working in here myself, so that I can change from one system to the other, metal or dust. Got a couple stations here. I've got a grinding station over here as well. This was set up for my grandson, who's in a wheelchair. So it's down on the level where he can work.
Absolutely. That's brilliant.
He's just finished 10 knives for a customer. This one's force draft and it's a ribbon burner.
Yeah.
And I use it basically pretty much for just making Damascus.
I see.
The little Venturia, obviously it's set lower for a reason.
Sure.
And that's for my grandson, again in the wheelchair. So if he's just forging blades to shape, he'll use that one. And then I have an anvil cut off really low for him to use. That's his anvil.
That's excellent.
So, you know, just because you have a handicap doesn't mean you can't make knives.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to figure out how to work around those problems.
Uh-huh. If other folks are in the same situation, they can give you a call and
Certainly.
and talk to you about that.
I have a young man, James Eisman, that he's handicapped. He's got problems with his hands and his balance. So some of the tools I have for Logan work really well for him.
Yeah.
And he's came out and done a class with me, and he's overcoming those issues. But
Wow.
it just takes a little more time to try to figure out, well, what can we do to make it where it's actually a doable thing for you, depending on the handicap you have. This is an 88 kilogram yin yang. I've had that hammer, since probably the mid 90s, and it's still just going strong. I have a hydraulic press over here, and this is a dual press. It actually has 2 cylinders.
Yeah.
You know, it has the up and down, and it has the vertical here, or the horizontal. So I can split, make feather patterns. So it's basically a miniature wood splitter. To change the operations is this valve position here. So if I'm going to operate this, the top, you know, it works off a foot pedal.
Uh-huh.
But if I'm going to split a billet, I just reposition this valve, and now this cylinder will work off the same pedal. Can you see it coming in and out?
Yeah.
So I can push a billet through this knife and it'll come out in this tray. And I always put this block under here just to keep the cylinder from leaking down.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed all the hammers have that.
Sure.
So if you're grinding or any sparks won't stick to the barrel of the cylinder rod.
Yeah.
And then cut
all
the seal
stretches.
when it goes back up, and
You
then
bet.
you'll have a terrible oil leak. Has actually nothing to do with knife making. We had a little small fire pit. My wife likes to sit around the fire of the evening, but the smoke is always following you around the fire. So I had an ideal of, well, if it had a chimney or something that would get the smoke higher up, then you could sit around it more comfortably. I had this old propane tank laying over on the back side of the pasture. So I drug it up here and cut a few designs in it and made a little fire pit, put a stack on the top so that it draws the smoke up, and you can sit around here with a nice little fire and not be bothered with smoke in your face.
Creativity doesn't stop at knives. Better be careful, you're gonna start getting orders for
Well,
this.
no, we do not make these for sale. There's your idea, make your own.
I really appreciate you having me out.
Well,
You've
I
got
appreciate you
a
coming.
beautiful property here. It's a great shop setup. I really enjoy being here. The fellas that you're teaching today, nice guys. Of course, we drew a little blood today.
We did. But that happens, you know.
That does happen.
Very rarely does a knife leave your shop that hasn't tasted a little blood.
That's a fact. But beautiful place, and you got quite the business going here. So I appreciate you having us out. I don't know where I go next, but I know it's here in Arkansas. So I look forward to meeting
Maybe it
some
won't
other
be a
people
long
here.
drive.
Yeah, hopefully not too far, not long walk. But thank you for having me out today.
Thank you, Rick.
I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
And I think that's probably going to do it for us out here in Nashville, Arkansas.
Nashville, Arkansas. You know, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, both, and I have a webpage, jrcookknives.com. Or you can email me at jr@jrcookknives.com.
Feel free to give them a call, order up a knife, support knife making here in the U.S. Meanwhile, if you want to support us and allow us to bring you more content like what you're seeing here today, then by all means you can give us a shout. Or online, of course, Richard Steinberg Making Knives, which is what you're probably watching right now. Or you can always contact us at Bear Claw Knife and Shear there in Midland, Texas, bcknife.com, and buy a little something that keeps us out here doing what we do every day. Thanks for coming out today. Thank you, JR. I appreciate it. Until next time, we'll see you then.